Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and welcome back to week 3 of the WBE. I'm the coach of the Melbourne Rotoms, and this week we're going up against KyleAye, the coach of the Miami Donphans. Now, as always, I'm going to do a quick team builder before we actually get into the battle. So if you want to just skip to the battle, check out the timestamped link in the description below. Some people also mentioned that it might be helpful to include a quick recap of the standings before getting into the battle. So if that's something you'd find interesting, let me know. I'm going to do it for this episode or in this video. And yeah, if people like to see it, then I'll continue doing so. There's also a website you can publicly follow along for WBE standings as well as results and when the matches are taking place in terms of schedules. So that's linked in the description below as well. But let's just get into it. Like I said, this week we're going up against Kyle, and Kyle is a phenomenal draft league player. He actually won the WBE last season, back when it was singles, and decided after conquering singles that he wanted to switch over to doubles/VGC. I've seen Kyle really grow as a draft league player, and he has really impressed me, especially with his WBE victory last season. He actually knocked out Wolfie from the semifinals last year, and Kyle's team was just like crazy. He came so well prepared for it. And, you know, in my eyes, Wolfie is one of the best draft league players definitely out there as well, and a tremendous team builder. So I think Kyle being able to take that underdog victory was just super, super impressive. And yeah, I mean, he's just a really, really cool guy as well. He's been super nice. I've, battled with him a couple of times. We actually played in the WBE first week last year, which was crazy as well. That was one of the closest battles I had. And I think Kyle's just a really hardworking guy with incredible team building ability. So I'm definitely excited, but also nervous to play against him this week. So here's a quick recap of the standings. You can see Kyle, he's currently 8th. He actually played the same 2 opponents we played, I believe. He ended up losing to Moxie, the coach of the Chicago Black Flock, in the first week, and then ended up beating Steph, the Golden State Glaceons coach, in the subsequent week. Both of those were really close sets, and I think Kyle brought some really cool sets as well in terms of his Pokemon. He had like an Iron Ball Vikavolt in week 1, which I was like, this is such a smart bring because he was going to get swept by Belly Drum Slowking otherwise. So, he clearly has the smarts to come up with these really, really innovative sets. So, we're doing pretty well in the league right now, but I don't think standings really matter at this point at all. It's more just so, we want to rack up as many wins as possible, get experience, get momentum, and maybe make some free agency trades with our team as well. So that's it for the standings. Kyle, I think, definitely one of the stronger players in this league. So let's get into the actual matchup. So you can see my team on the left, Kyle's team on the right. Obviously, we've been playing pretty top-heavy for the most part in this league. I haven't really felt much of a reason to bring Duosion, Sigilyph, Bronzor, or Glaceon, mainly because I haven't really felt a major need for my Trick Room mode. Gigalith actually functions pretty well even outside of Trick Room, as you've seen me bring in the last couple of weeks. So going into this week, I don't see much reason to deviate from just the top 6 Pokemon, to be honest. Like, Duosion, I would be bringing for like a Trick Room setup, but there are a bunch of things that scare me about setting up Trick Room. First of all, Kyle has some really slow Pokemon, especially that Hatterene and the 11 Marowak. If I'm committing to Trick Room, it means I have to sweep through with Gigalith, and I don't feel super confident with that. So, Duosion and Bronzor are pretty easily eliminated. And Glaceon, I actually think, could hold some value here because it does decently into like Mantine, Goodra, and Vikavolt potentially. But it's like, what do I drop for it? Maybe Torracat, but everything else just feels like it's too good to not to bring. Everything feels too good to not bring. So I kind of have to bring them. Bronzor, once again, I'm not going with Trick Room, so no reason for that. Unfezant, it did as well last week, but I just don't think it has as much space to thrive in this week's matchup, especially because I think Sableye is going to be a really big threat from his end, and it can shut down Unfezant in so many different ways, either be Will-O-Wisp or, tricking away our item and then giving us a potential eject button. If we lose our scope lens, this Pokemon becomes a lot less effective. So, looking at Kyle's team, I think there are actually a lot of threats. Urshifu, Hat, Marowak, Goodra, Sableye, Tangrowth, Dugtrio, and Mantine are all Pokemon I kind of expect to see, to be honest. I think Kyle's actually has a really well-rounded draft where he obviously has some slow Trick Room modes with the Hat, the Marowak, the Porygon. Tangrowth is actually a really cool redirection user because, of course, not everyone has something like a Togekiss or a strong Fire-type Pokemon, so Tangrowth I'm actually pretty nervous about as well. But, like, we went up against Tangela in week 1, right? And I think, like, this is where Whimsicott is really helpful. Primarina can actually do a lot of work against Tangrowth as well as Toxtricity, so I'm not super worried about it, but I still have to respect it. That being said, I am worried about a bunch of different modes here. The first thing I want to call out, I think, is actually the Mantine plus a Sableye combination, because that can really, do a lot of damage to my team. Now, Mantine isn't exactly like the most effective sweeper, but like you combine that with Rain Dance, Max Geysers are going to do a lot of damage. You know, can obviously Max Airstream as well, potentially Max Hailstorm. So I think that is definitely going to be a pretty big threat. As we saw last week, ground type Pokemon can scare me a lot. We were able to beat the Mudsdale last week, but Dugtrio here also really gives me, you know, a couple of problems. And I think like it, you know, obviously can trap us in as well, which is potentially scary, and it outspeeds my entire team pre-Tailwind. So I've got to watch out about that. Sableye is, I actually think, the trickiest Pokemon to deal with here. Most of the other Pokemon are pretty one-dimensional. Urshifu and Hatterene, Marowak, you pretty much know exactly what they're going to do. You can obviously have like a, you know, clever tech move here and there, but I think they're pretty straightforward for the most part. Tangrowth is pretty straightforward as well. It's just in terms of redirection, you know, you're going to run Rage Powder, Sleep Powder, and then Protect, and then a 4th attack. Goodra, you know, you could run the Weakness Policy variant, could run Assault Vest, even something like Life Orb, but, and then, you know, you could also go Physical or Special, and I think so. Goodra is something I'm worried about because of the flexibility there. Sableye is something I'm worried about because of the flexibility. Dugtrio can potentially be scary, although I actually think we have a fair amount of answers against it. It's just that, like, Marowak and Dugtrio make it a lot harder for the Toxtricity to thrive, so I think those will probably come out just because otherwise Toxtricity has a really, really easy time just clicking Electric-type attacks. And then, like, I already mentioned the Mantine. Like, I think that's going to definitely be a problem for us. Because, yeah, you know, it's actually, I think, a phenomenal Dynamax candidate. So, going into this week, I actually want to counter that as much as possible. I'm not really worried about Vikavolt, Dunsparce, or Porygon, though. Like, I think Gigalith here actually is an excellent counter if he decides to go with Trick Room. Gigalith is just slower than everything and will outspeed everything under Trick Room. If we throw an Assault Vest onto it, Max Rockfall, Max Quake, you know, and Max Steel Spike, that actually just does so much damage into almost everything like Kyle has. So I'm actually not really that worried about the Trick Room option, and I'm more focused on preparing for the rain mode of, Sableye plus Mantine. But I think Goodra is something I actually have to give a lot of respect to as well, because the only way I really hit it for super effective damage is Primarina. So Primarina is definitely going to be a high priority pick this week, but I think we actually have like 4 different max options this week in Toxtricity, Excadrill, Primarina, and Gigalith, whereas in the last couple of weeks I was pretty focused on only maxing Primarina. So let's get into the actual team that I want to bring into this week. Alright, going down to the team building component. Like I mentioned, I don't see much reason to deviate from just the best 6 Pokemon that we have, so I'm just going to stick to those. So let's go over each of the movesets. First of all is Whimsicott. Like I mentioned, this was a high priority pick for me in the league. It was my first choice, and honestly, Whimsicott has not disappointed me. It is so good in Draft League. And as you can see, we have so much flexibility with the moves every week, right? Tailwind and Moonblast are coming out most of the times, but I have so many options in terms of my last 2 attacks. This week, I'm opting for Helping Hand and Protect. I'm still kind of debating between Helping Hand and Fake Tier, so it's probably going to be like a game time decision, but one reason I really like Helping Hand is because it combos nicely with Excadrill, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So I also want to run Protect this week because Sableye is one of the main threats, I think, on Kyle's team. I think it's likely to come out and have Fake Out, and I really don't want to just eat up like a Fake Out Max Airstream turn 1 and just get knocked out. So with Protect, I can just safely Protect turn 1, lead something else, you know, double Protect, and then just Tailwind the next turn. And if I guarantee Tailwind up in this game, I think that's actually really valuable because that way I can just outspeed everything, and I think like Primarina, Toxtricity, Excadrill can kind of just overwhelm with offense. Pretty standard EV spread here. I'm not opting for Timid just because I want as much firepower as possible, especially if Goodra comes out. We don't really need to be outspeeding anything, bar the Urshifu, just because there's nothing faster than it other than Dugtrio, which would outspeed us anyway. So yeah, almost max speed, and then the rest just dumped into HP. Next Pokemon is Primarina. Primarina is pretty standard here. The speed investment, I believe, is so that I outspeed Dugtrio under Tailwind, which I think would be pretty valuable. I think if he actually brings Dugtrio, it's probably going to be Choice Scarf, to be honest, because like that can counter my Choice Scarf Toxtricity. But if it doesn't come out, or if it's just like a Focus Sash variant, that's great for us as well. So I want enough speed investment to outspeed that benchmark, and then that obviously outspeeds the rest of his team as well. Max Special Attack, and then just the rest dumped into HP. In terms of moveset, this one's interesting, right? I wanted Life Orb, or I want Life Orb, because I don't think Assault Vest provides as much value. Sure, it helps us a little bit against the Mantine, but Primarina's Life Orb calcs are really good into this week, I think. And it just provides so much offensive pressure. And so I'm opting for Moonblast, Hyper Voice, Blizzard, and Protect. I want Hydro Cannon, but I think regular Primarina is actually a lot more valuable this week than the other weeks where we were prioritizing maxing Primarina. I think this is a week where Primarina can just come out in regular form and still be really, really good. So I want the Blizzard because that covers the Tangrowth. I know he ran Focus Sash Tangrowth earlier in the weeks as well. So even if he leads Sash Tangrowth, I can basically one-shot it turn 1. And I think you're probably not ever going to go for like a Sleep Powder when you're up against a Primarina, which can just max Starfall. So pretty standard stuff here for the most part. Next one is Gigalith. So we haven't used Gigalith that much, but it's still valuable just for weather control, right? Against Moxie, even having this in team preview means that he's going to be a little bit more hesitant to bring out the Sun. And we ended up bringing Gigalith a bunch against Moxie, actually. And in this week, Kyle has the potential option to set up the Rain. So I still need Gigalith in this matchup for sure. And I actually think this is a really, really strong option to potentially Dynamax, especially if he decides to go the Trick Room route. If Kyle decides to go the Trick Room route, then I can just bring him Gigalith, outspeed everything under his Trick Room, and just pick up big knockouts. I have great coverage with this Gigalith as well. Max Knuckle, Max Rockfall, Max Quake, Max Steel Spike. So I'm able to hit pretty much all the major threats on this team for super effective damage. The main things I want this Gigalith to be able to destroy are the Hatterene and the Marowak, but Mantine as well, right? With the Salt Vest, I actually did this damage calc just with max HP. If he leads Sableye and Mantine, I could potentially actually just lead Gigalith and turn 1, even if you Rain Dance and your Life Orb and you max Geyser into Gigalith. Gigalith will survive that with the Assault Vest and then can just KO back with a max Rockfall in return. So that's a potential lead combination for us, depending on what he actually ends up bringing. Pretty standard EV spread here, max HP, max attack. Probably could have cooked up some cooler stuff here just to survive some more specific things like Marowak, Max Quake, or some more stuff with Mantine, but I wasn't really too worried. So I felt like, generic spread, but it gets the job done. Next one is Excadrill. At first, I actually didn't really want to bring Excadrill into this matchup at all, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, wait, there's actually cool ways to just destroy the Mantine plus Sableye lead here. And that's just with Pasho Berry Excadrill, because that covers almost every option like he could lead. Now, once again, it's going to be really important to extract information and figure out what kind of Sableye set it is, because I need to figure out what moveset it has. Does it have Will-O-Wisp? Does it have Quash? Does it have Eject Button with the, the Trick? These are all potential options that I have to look out for. But I think this Excadrill actually is a pretty good matchup into his lead. I don't think you're ever going to run like bulky Mantine. I think if it's coming out, it's going to be offensive. So this way I could lead Whimsicott Excadrill and potentially just Helping Hand max Rockfall turn 1. I'm still debating between Helping Hand and Fake Tears, but that calculation alone makes me lean towards Helping Hand a little bit more, especially because I think Sableye might come out with Fake Out. So yeah, Fake Out, you'd be tempted to just Fake Out max Airstream into Whimsicott. Well, I can just Helping Hand max Rockfall. I'm going to be faster than you as well if you don't Rain Dance. And if you Rain Dance turn 1, well, I'll still survive with the Pasho Berry. And then I get the weather control into my favor as well. So I think Whimsicott Excadrill actually ends up being a really interesting lead option this week. So max attack, Jolly. We don't really need to run max speed. Trying to remember what this was actually outpacing. I think it was the let me see, because it's slower than Whimsicott. Oh, it was Goodra, I think. Yeah, because Goodra's 80. So and we're not gonna outspeed Urshifu. So as long as I cover the Goodra, that's okay with me. So, standard moveset here, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But the whole idea is to potentially just dunk on the Mantine turn 1. Alright, next one is Torracat. I don't think Torracat's actually that great in this week because there aren't that many physical attackers, but I still kind of need to bring it to help out against Marowak, because if Marowak comes out, it's going to do so much damage in a Primarina, especially with Max Phantasm, so I can at least cycle Torracat back in and out for Intimidates and Parting Shot it as well. Moveset is pretty self-explanatory. I'm opting for Taunt over Will-O-Wisp this week because I don't see any value in Will-O-Wisp. I can't even burn the Marowak. It's pretty much the only physical attacker I want to burn this week. So Taunt's interesting because with Whimsicott, I can't taunt Sableye because it's Dark type. And obviously, Prankster into Dark type is a unique interaction where it doesn't work. But I can bring Torracat and use that to taunt the Sableye potentially. So I don't expect to really be bringing this out, but it's very dependent on what Kyle actually ends up bringing. I still kind of need this because it gives me answers against the Tangrowth as well in case that comes out. This completely shuts down Tangrowth. Overheat just destroys it, but I can also taunt it. And Parting Shot also gives us options in case Kyle plays a more Goodra-focused game. And so, once again, similar speed to Excadrill. It's actually the same speed, so I should have EV'd one to be one speed point faster than the other, just so I'm not speed time with myself. But everything else is self-explanatory. A little bit of special attack, and the rest dumped in HP. Someone mentioned in the first week, because we're not maxing this Mon, and because we have Eviolite, we could probably put it more in defenses, which I thought was a pretty good point. There weren't any specific calcs I was looking to survive though, so I was like, just for generic ease, I'm just going to dump it in HP, but could probably be a little bit more optimized. Last Pokemon is Toxtricity. So I've been running Choice Scarf Toxtricity pretty consistently, and I actually don't really see a reason to deviate from it here. The reason being is because I think Kyle is potentially going to have that Urshifu in the back. It's going to be really tough to max that Urshifu if I have Helping Hand and Overdrive, with Whimsicott and Toxtricity. So I think Scarf Toxtricity still works really well here. Now, the one thing I have to watch out for or I guess the two Pokemon I have to watch out for are going to be the Dugtrio and the Marowak. If those come out, then, they can obviously switch into a Volt Switch or an Overdrive and then just retaliate back with the knockout the subsequent turn. However, I think your Toxtricity does provide a lot of value here, especially because we obviously have these really powerful electric type attacks for the Mantine. Overdrive overall just does really, really well into the entire team, bar the Marowak and the Dugtrio, and obviously Primarina can deal really, really well against those two Pokemon. I don't know. I've been running Scarf Toxtricity. It's actually just been so nice for us. We haven't really maxed it at all, but it's typically not exactly the best max mon because it does get really hard walled by ground type Pokemon because we don't have something like a grass type attack, right? So if I max Toxtricity, I basically I think it only makes sense if I know my opponent's not bringing a ground type Pokemon. So it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely. And in the last couple of weeks, we've ran into a lot of tough matchups for Toxtricity, but I don't really need it to max, to be honest. I love the flexibility of it being able to max, but the Scarf, I think, is still just a strong option here. So, in terms of the investment here, I have enough speed to outspeed Scarf Dugtrio. Sorry, not Scarf Dugtrio, regular Dugtrio, so don't want to get outpaced by that. And then I almost had max. I originally had max special attack, but then I was looking at it and I was like, one thing I want to prepare for is Choice Scarf Urshifu, Adamant Choice Scarf Urshifu, because he knows that I've been running Scarf Toxtricity these last couple of weeks. I could totally see him getting the leg up on me and running, Scarf Urshifu and try to just knock me out in return. So with the amount of defense investment that I have, even if he's Adamant max attack, and 3 Surging Strikes will not KO us, we'll survive, and we'll be able to KO in return. So that's the main thing I'm EVing for here. Pretty specific scenario, but I think it's fine. I mean, I'm obviously, once again, the benchmark is speed, and then normally dump the rest in special attack, and then whatever I have left in defenses. It just so happened that when I did the calc, I was like, okay, if I just take a little bit away from special attack and make it slightly less than max, I can guaranteed survive a Adamant triple crit Surging Strikes. So, yeah. What's tricky about this is that I don't have a definitive lead. I think Whimsicott Excadrill works, especially if it's Sableye Mantine. Whimsicott Gigalith even works. Primarina Whimsicott works. Toxtricity Whimsicott works. The main thing that I want to do in this game is give myself options. And that's kind of how I've been approaching WBE because, we can't always predict what our opponents are going to bring. So it's better just to have a lot of flexibility against all the possible combinations that they can have. At the end, not all of it will be relevant, but the idea is if I get destroyed game 1, especially as a seasoned VGC player, a lot of it is just taking in the knowledge that I've absorbed, finding out my opponent's sets, and then beating them afterwards. So I don't want to stick to one game mode. I want to have multiple different flexible game modes, and I think with this team, we actually have a lot of them. So yeah, that is going to be it for the team breakdown. Let's actually get into the battle. Thank you for watching. Hey guys. Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and welcome to week 3 of the WBE. Of course, I am the coach of the Melbourne Rotoms, and this week we're going up against KyleAye, the coach of the Miami Donphans. Kyle actually won the singles league last season, so he is a phenomenal player. I feel like I've seen him grow into just such a tremendous draft league player throughout the last couple of years, and I'm really excited to see him, try out VGC. I think he's actually drafted a really strong team, and he's made a lot of, his free agency picks already. I think he's used pretty much all of his swaps, and I'm actually pretty nervous going into this one because I think he has a lot of potential strong Pokemon against us. So excited to play against Kyle. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this matchup, so for the most part, what I'm bringing is pretty standard, but I feel like it still gives me a pretty optimal matchup against everything that he could bring. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we are 2-0 in the league, which has been nice. Haven't dropped a game yet, but I think Kyle's definitely going to be a very tough opponent. So once again, you can find him linked in the description below. I've linked his YouTube channel, and yeah, go check him out. He's a super cool guy, does a lot of draft league content, and we actually had one of the closest games in the league last season in singles in week 1, where I just won by a very slim margin. So it was super cool to see him make the Cinderella run last year and end up winning the entire championship. So let's get into this week's battle. Okay, Kyle's brought, I would say, almost everything I was expecting. Porygon, I gotta say, I wasn't expecting. I was more thinking along the lines of Goodra, but everything else here was... I was definitely expecting Sableye Mantine, which I think is a very possible lead on his end. Tangrowth isn't actually here, which I'm a little bit surprised by, but maybe relieved as well to not see. So I had a lot of ideas for how I want to deal with the Sableye Mantine lead. One mode is just to lead Whimsicott Primarina immediately. And I'm still thinking about that. Oh, he didn't bring Marowak though. That's huge. Because that means he doesn't have any electric resists. Other than the... Or no, he just doesn't have a single one. So that's really interesting. I want to prioritize Primarina. I think game 1, I want to go Whimsicott, Primarina, which was what I was planning on. And then Toxtricity and Gigalith in the back. I kind of expect him to actually lead with Sableye and Mantine. So the idea is to... I have Protect on Whimsicott. Mantine's not going to do very much into Primarina. And then I could potentially even max Gigalith here, but I think max Primarina is a pretty strong option. It beats Kyle's team pretty well in the late game as well. If he decides to go with Trick Room, AV Min-Speed Gigalith puts in a lot of work here. The other route I was thinking is going Excadrill. So as you see, I'm Pasho Berry Excadrill, and I'm actually running like Helping Hand as well on the Whimsicott. So like one play I could make is Helping Hand max Rockfall into the Mantine turn 1. But yeah. Okay, so no Marowak is nice because it means Toxtricity holds a lot more value in this set, I think. I could have even actually led Toxtricity now that I think about it. Yeah, there's Mantine Sableye. So that was the lead I was expecting. I think I'm alright with this. The only play I'm worried about is like eject button stuff turn 1. But I do have Protect on the Whimsicott. So like, I honestly want to just double Protect turn 1 and scout out for what he goes for. Because the only play I'm worried about here is if he goes for Trick onto Primarina, he actually has the eject button and then ejects us out immediately and we lose our Dynamax. That'd be pretty bad. I could see him going for like a double up. Because like Primarina just walls him pretty hard here. So I think double protecting turn 1 is fine. Yeah, let's go for that. I want to scout out for what he has here. Okay, Mantine maxes, so I'm okay with that. I do think that is actually the strongest max option against my team, so I prepared a lot of different ways around this, but Sableye is still what makes this tricky, and I really need to confirm its moveset more before anything. So that's why I ran Protect on Whimsicott this week as well, because obviously Sableye can fake out. So I'm guaranteed to, get an attack off with Whimsicott this next turn and can, set up a Tailwind, for example. I don't think you Rain Dance here. I would think you fake out into Whimsicott and Airstream, or you go for Trick with the eject button. Oh, he actually just goes for Rain Dance, though. Okay. Kind of frustrating, because like if I just maxed Primarina there and targeted Sableye, that would have been sick. But I don't mind playing safe in game 1, because it's all about information management. Ooh, he has max Ooze. Interesting. Okay. Max Ooze is actually pretty dang scary. Okay. Edit's Life Orb, which I think isn't too surprising to see. I was thinking he might run Assault Vest, but I do want to jot that down real quick. So let's see. Mantine. I'm still so scared of the, like, I want to switch out into Gigalith, honestly. So, like, Mantine has Ooze, Sableye has Rain Dance. I mean, if he's not eject button, then he's probably going to be, buried here. So, honestly, I think he's going to Ooze again, so I kind of want to Moonblast into the Sableye and switch Whimsicott out into Gigalith. Yeah, I mean, Primarina's just exerting so much pressure here. I think you really got to target it down. Now, he could make a great play and go for, like, Airstream onto us, which would be really scary, because I'm going to just change the weather here, too. But this is Assault Vest Gigalith, so if he's not going for Rain Dance this turn, Gigalith should take it like a champ. So let's see. Okay, Helping Hand. I'm hoping Helping Hand max Ooze. That's what it looks like. And he's not Fairy Resist Berry, which makes me think even more like he is... Oh, he's Sashed! Okay, that's so good to know, because now I don't have to worry about eject button. He actually Airstreams. Is that into the Primarina slot, though? Okay, yeah, nice. So that's good. So Sableye has Sash, Rain Dance, Helping Hand. Yeah, I didn't want to stay in with Primarina and, like, max there, so now I could even Tailwind, or even switch out Gigalith, because, like, he might go for a late game Trick Room option. And obviously, as you can see right now, I'm just trying to stall out the Dynamax. Okay, yeah, so now I can play more aggressively against the Sableye turn 1, which is nice. But the Ooze tech is pretty scary here, I won't lie. Okay, so Urshifu comes out. I mean, you would want a Geyser here, right? Mantine should outspeed us now, but I can just Tailwind. And then this sets up Toxtricity really, really nicely for the late game. I honestly might just give up both Pokemon here. I don't even know if Urshifu knocks us out. You're not... If I was like, expecting to run Choice Scarf for Urshifu, but Tailwind, the late game Tailwind setup here is huge for us. So I think just Tailwinding and going for Stone Edge onto Mantine seems fine. Because Urshifu is going to get walled by the Primarina. I think I might lose both Pokemon this turn, but I'm actually alright with that, because it means I get Tailwind up. And I have Choice Scarf Tox in the back, which is huge. Okay, yep, just going to go for Surging Strikes. I think this is a knockout, but let's see. Yeah, it is. That's okay. I actually crits the first one. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? It's a triple crit. It is late, it's been a long day. Like, I could have switched that out into Primarina, but I don't really see much reason to, because I know he doesn't have Marowak in the Brack, so I can just bring out Gigalith and Primarina now. And it's not like he went for Geyser to change the weather. So, like, Mantine's at +2, but my Toxtricity just outspeeds it, and I can just Overdrive, Max Primarina, and Starfall into Urshifu. Oh, also, Urshifu went before the Mantine, so I was thinking he was going to run Scarf Urshifu this week. It's looking like it. Okay. Mantine gets Wide Guard though, doesn't it? I would think you'd run Protect instead of Wide Guard, but I want to double check that, because that could be a problem for us, actually. Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. I thought I got Wide Guard. Did it lose it? Yeah, I got it in Sun and Moon, but... Oh, no, it still has it. Oh, that actually makes this tricky, then. Do I think he's going to run Wide Guard? You obviously want a Water type attack. The Wide Guard makes a lot of sense to cover for the early game Toxtricity lead. So like what I'm thinking here is maxing Toxtricity, Stun Shock into Urshifu, and actually protecting Primarina. I'm going to play this cautiously, because if he has Wide Guard, I kind of whiff here, which is really bad. Yeah. Actually, no, I think it would have been better to have just Volt Switched Max Primarina, and, but we don't KO the Mantine, which is the fear, right? Okay, so he's not protecting here. He didn't Wide Guard, okay. I didn't think he had it, but I really had to respect it, if I'm being honest here. Just makes me a little bit more scared now, depending on what the last one is on their end. Okay, you get a Poison. Would have preferred Paralysis for the Para Roll, but that's fine. Let's see if he Sludge Bombed. Oh, it's actually Gunk Shot. Oh, so it's physical. Whoa. Gunk Shot. Okay. Yeah, so if I just Overdrive Max Starfall there, it's game over, I think. But I think it should respect Wide Guard. The fact that he didn't go for it, though, makes me think he doesn't have it. I think we just knock out Mantine here, even if it protects. But I'm getting a lot of valuable information here, too, which is good. It's actually Vikavolt is the last one. Okay. I don't mind seeing that, I think. Let's see. Pretty safe to just Stun Shock into Mantine. And Hyper Voice. I could Moonblast to lower special attack on Vikavolt, which I think is valuable. Okay, let's go for that. Obviously, you can protect with Mantine here, but I can't risk it attacking. Huh, Gunk Shot, interesting, so it's physical. Well, that's clearly the Primarina counter, but this thing's attack is pretty terrible. It's only 40. I don't even know if I needed to respect it, really, then. Because I'm pretty sure we survive a gunk shot, even. Right, he doesn't protect. Does he not have protect, then? He's been playing like that. Okay, so that's out of the way. Get a single. Ah! I went for Moonblast instead of the Hyper Voice. This could be Assault Vest, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if it were. Oh, it doesn't look like it, though. Okay, nice. That should seal up the game, then. Mud Shot. That actually did a ton of damage. Very cool. Geekavolt, Mud Shot. Okay, we have this game won, but I want to quickly calc. Or, first of all, so let's see. Moonblast does like 90% to Volt. He has Surging Strikes. The Urshifu. Pretty sure it's physical Mantine. Or it's mixed, I guess, actually. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? But how much is that actually doing into Primarina? 'Cause I don't think it's that much. I just want to do this calc while I have time, because this game is obviously over already. So let's see. Gunk Shot. I'm guessing he's a mixed set. That would make the most sense to me. Life Orb. Oh, it's actually still pretty good damage. This is telling me 40 to 48%, but that's obviously not a one-hit KO. I should have actually double-checked Mantine's moveset before. I was assuming it was Sludge Bomb, but yeah, it doesn't even get Sludge Bomb. Oh, we timed out here, but it doesn't really matter. Any move we make wins. Yeah. Nice. Like I said, it wouldn't be a Cybertron video without a timeout, but as long as the Toxtricity was guaranteed to attack there. So, yeah, I just wanted to use this time to actually figure out that damage calc. Okay, so Sableye not being eject button is a very big deal, I would say. He didn't go for Wide Guard, which makes me think he doesn't have it. Which would make sense, right? You obviously want Gunk Shot, Airstream, a Water type attack, and then probably Protect. He didn't go for Fake Out turn 1 with Sableye, so that's another big question mark. You know, one thing I want to calc right now is how much Primarina does into... Because he might just Airstream us turn 1 onto Whimsicott, like Fake Out Airstream. So how much does Primarina do into Sableye if I actually max Hailstorm instead? Because I'm modest, max. It really depends on how bulky he is. The other game mode I kind of want to try out in game 2 is Whimsicott Excadrill. Because he clearly has a really big weakness to Toxtricity. I'm just wondering if he decides to go with Trick Room. Because then I might need to bring Gigalith out. Trick Room would be pretty scary. Okay. I was pretty afraid of the Sableye Mantine mode though, so I'm glad to get some information on like what sets he's running there. The eject button is just what I was most worried about. So I'm glad at least that's not relevant. I mean, Gigalith just went down that last game, but it was crucial to change the weather. Given that, I feel like if you had Fake Out, turn 1, a Fake Out into Whimsicott makes so much sense, right? Like just Fake Out Airstream, which makes me think he doesn't have Fake Out. So one mode I really want to consider is Whimsicott Excadrill, and turn 1 just helping hand max Rockfall into the Mantine, which potentially can just pick up a one-hit KO. It's tempting. Because the helping hand bypasses the Fake Out too. But what if he goes with Trick Room? What are his Trick Room options here? I guess I could lead like Whimsicott Excadrill with Gigalith. I don't think Torracat's ever coming out here. Like he has all special Pokemon other than Urshifu, and Urshifu's just gonna crit its way through. It's just like, do I give up Primarina? Because it seems so good here. But like late game Toxtricity also kind of destroys him because he didn't bring a single Electric Resist. I'm just thinking he might pivot to Trick Room this time around. But if he pivots to Trick Room, the Hatterene, you'd have to lead like Porygon pretty much. The only downside is if he has Will-O-Wisp. That could be scary. Because if you have Will-O-Wisp, then you can Will-O-Wisp Excadrill turn 1. I kind of want to try this out though. We're up in a game, and you know he could definitely make a read on like the Primarina switching in this next one. So I'm gonna go Whimsicott Excadrill. I think Gigalith is kind of necessary in case he goes with the Trick Room route, and Toxtricity is the last one. Yeah. He could totally switch it up and go Trick Room here. I also want to confirm the rest of Sableye's moves. I think Will-O-Wisp is honestly probably decently likely. So like another play I could consider is like turn 1, switch out Excadrill into Gigalith, Moonblast to KO the Sableye, get that out of the way. We have options, but let's see if he leads with the same stuff. Yeah, he does. Okay. Do you have Will-O-Wisp? That is the question. I don't know. I mean, protecting Whimsicott is really valuable. I could even lead Whimsicott Tox in the next game if he goes with the same stuff again, because then I can just Tailwind turn 1 and max Toxtricity, which I think is a pretty good option. But let's think about the game in front of us right now. I mean, I could go for the Helping Hand stuff, but... like, I also revealed Protect last time around. I don't know. I kind of want to go for it. Because, like, if he doesn't expect this, it's just kind of a game-winning play turn 1. And, like, even if it doesn't work out, we're up 1 game, so, like, I don't mind really taking a risk earlier on right now. Best case is if he Rain Dances and goes for Geyser into the Excadrill, because we have Pasho Berry. So I'm going to survive that for sure, and then I retaliate back, and then that means I have Weather Control going to turn 2, and then the next turn I can just Tailwind. I mean, he probably has Quash on Sableye as well, right? So I'm wondering if the last one is Will-O-Wisp, because I think that would make a lot of sense, but if he didn't bring it, that would be huge. Or if he misses, or if he doesn't go for a turn 1. Either way, Helping Hand Rockfall should do 40 to 50% here, even if he burns me, and if he doesn't, it might just knock out. Depending on how bulky he is, but I think you're going to want a fair amount of investment in this. So I prepared for this with like 4 different options, but I don't have like a super consistent one until I figure out like all the moves I'm going up against here. I'd love to see Fake Out here as well. Let's see. Okay, he goes for Shadow Sneak. Good to confirm that. Shadow Sneak. If we pick up the 1-hit KO here, it's just over. Oh! Let's go. That was a 1-hit KO, right? It doesn't have like a secret amount of HP left. Okay, nice. Yeah, I think that's just game over, honestly. Shadow Sneak is interesting, instead of Fake Out. But yeah, now we just Tailwind. We also break Sableye's Focus Sash. Okay. I was really nervous about Mantine going in this week, honestly. I was super, super nervous about it. So I'm glad the tech paid off here. Like, this lead covered almost every option other than... what if he Will-O-Wisps? Yeah, Will-O-Wisp Airstream was my one fear, because then I would set up the stand, and then I have the Focus Sash, and I just feint to Mantine. I'm glad Excadrill finally comes down. We max some other Pokemon, because Primarina has kind of stolen the show from all of our other teammates. So it's like, if he has Will-O-Wisp and he goes for Will-O-Wisp onto Excadrill and Airstream turn 1, I don't KO the Mantine and Whimsicott feints, which means I don't have Tailwind control the subsequent turns. Now I can Tailwind, which I think is really safe, because it sets up for the late game overdrive stuff. And just go for a... Do I even need a Tailwind? I probably should. I mean, you might Rain Dance. I could see him like Rain Dancing, Surging Strikes into Excadrill, but you can't knock out both Pokemon. This is kind of the problem with Sableye. It doesn't do anything after like the early game. So I think just Tailwinding here is fine, and targeting down the Sableye is also okay here with just the Steel Spike. I think like we've clearly paved the way for Toxtricity in this late game, and I was expecting Marowak to come out, so the fact he didn't bring that was huge. Okay, he's gonna Quash though, which is smart, but you shouldn't knock out the Excadrill with either attack here. Yeah, because we have the Pasho. Okay, so in case this goes to a 4th game, I know the full moveset here does not do very much. But I think the next 2 do full damage, right? Yeah. So it's actually going to be a fair amount when it's all said and done. But getting that knockout on Mantine turn 1 was huge, 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 huge. I think like if we don't get that knockout, Whimsicott probably goes down and then the game gets a little bit more awkward. Although you're probably Airstreaming there or max oozing, so then the question is like, I was calcing it, and I didn't think the Mantine would have any bulk, right? So I was like, okay, a double up should be enough to pick up the knockout. Rockfall plus Sand damage almost always guarantees the knockout there. Okay, so we know we're faster than Urshifu now with Whimsicott, so we can just Moonblast that slot for a knockout. No priority is really scary here. It's, as I said, I think it should be Choice Scarf, because I was expecting to bring Scarf Urshifu to counter the Scarf Toxtricity. So I actually EV Toxtricity to survive a Surging Strikes, 3x Surging Strikes. Yep, so it's beakable. Nice. Now we can just Moonblast and Rockfall. Yeah, I don't think there's really any debate here. Glad to have changed it up a little bit, though, because I didn't feel super good about the Primarina lead, given that he had Max Ooze, given that I still didn't know the full moveset on the... Okay, it's just Aqua Jet. Yeah. Should I have played safer there? I mean, if he crits me... Oh, so he's not scarfed. I thought he was scarfed this whole time. Interesting. Well, that was my bad. Because I thought the Mantine airstreamed and then it's Roselli. Oh. Yeah, I thought Mantine airstreamed, but I guess it might not have enough speed investment to outspeed Urshifu even at +1. Or maybe I missed something because I haven't been paying great attention. Okay, yeah, another double up will just finish up the deal. I'm glad Excadrill finally actually gets to do something for us, because this was a really good priority pick for me, right? Like, I thought it would be really good, and I was surprised that no one had drafted it, but it hasn't actually been super... I mean, it just hasn't been great in the matchups these last couple of weeks, right? It's not been bad either, but yeah. We can just Moonblast, and I don't... Differential doesn't even count in this league, so I don't really care. No reason to try to conserve it here. Yep, so Excadrill will go down, but it definitely did its job with that turn 1 knockout. The Draft League is so interesting because, yeah, I think, like, this week and last week, it felt like I was often able to win the game off a turn 1 play. And that's because I often just try to think, okay, what's, like, the scariest thing my opponent can bring, and how do I counter that as much as possible with my team? So, Pasho Excadrill with Helping Hand Whimsicott was the answer this week. I was honestly pretty nervous about Goodra and Marowak, so I'm glad those didn't come out. The lack of Marowak meant that the Toxtricity could have a really, really good late game win con, and the lack of the, what am I thinking? Goodra. Like, Goodra was scary because I was like, he could bring Goodra and Dynamax it. That would kind of be a pretty big threat to a lot of the things that I think that I'd be bringing. So I was pretty nervous about that because, like, Assault Vest Goodra, like, I don't do super well into, and I actually was debating between Fake Tears and Helping Hand before this match. And I was like, I think, like, he's definitely going to lead Sableye plus the Mantine. So I think I should go Helping Hand because the Helping Hand Rockfall play can potentially just get the one-hit KO onto the Mantine. So it ended up being a huge, yeah, decision. And I'm glad I ended up going for that. So yeah, good game to Kyle. Guys, please go check him out. He's linked in the description below. He is such a cool guy, and it is definitely an honor and a pleasure to play him. Definitely one of the nicest guys I've met around since doing Draft League, and I'm really excited to follow his career in VGC because, you know, he started with singles, and I think he's just improved so much as a singles Draft League player, and his like teams are always just so good, and his preparation is always so good as well. So I'm eager to follow him for the rest of the season. And yeah, thank you as always for watching, for supporting the Melbourne Rotoms. We're 3-0 now, so good start to the season. 7 weeks left in the regular season, so you know, obviously I'd like to make it to playoffs and then try to win the whole thing. So appreciate everyone watching, for everyone's support, and glad to mix it up a little bit this time and bring some new strategies like the Pasho Excadrill and the Helping Hand on the Whimsicott. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Peace. Alright, we did this last week, and it seemed like a lot of people were receptive to the idea, so we're doing a battle on Battle Stadium with the WBE team so that we do not spoil people the results of the game. So, I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you for all the positive feedback on this last week. I'm happy to do it. I think it's a fun way to see how our team can stack up against actual VGC teams. And just in general, you know, I think, yeah, being spoiled of the results when you're, like, you know, just starting game 2 can kind of be a bummer. So, glad people are down for this, and yeah, thank you as always for watching. Alright, we're going up against, like, as standard of a team as possible here, and honestly, it does not look like a fun matchup. Especially because the Excadrill item is so useless. Like, Pasho is literally so specific. Solvest Gigalith is actually pretty dang interesting here. Question is what I want to lead with. Like, Sun is decently likely from there, and Primarina also looks kind of good here. But Dusclops is a problem. You're going to be hearing that a lot in this subsequent weeks once we turn to Series 6 as well. Because I don't have super effective attacks into it. I do have Taunt, though, in the Torcat. Maybe we can bring out Torcat as a lead. We didn't really get to feature that. Torcat, Primarina, Gigalith, Excadrill? Yeah, let's try this out. I actually think we could justify bringing all 6 Pokemon here. But the thing with Whimsicott is that it's not getting much damage off. At best, I'll probably get a Tailwind or a Helping Hand off, but that's pretty much it. I don't really know if I really need the Tailwind speed control necessarily here. So that's why I'm not bringing it, but I don't know. I mean, these 6, I think that this core of, like, Pokemon is just super, super common. It should be surprising to see anywhere. This is actually not bad for us, I think. I actually have a lot of options here. Question is what I want to do. Yeah. I could fake out the Torkoal and just go for a max Hailstorm here, because I think, like, you might be wary of Whimsicott even, or Primarina even protecting or switching out, so I could see my opponent going for, like, a Quake onto Torracat. The alternative is, like, here's an interesting option, right? We just overheat into Venusaur turn 1 and protect Primarina. I think that's also an option. I don't know. I'm kind of down for the fake out into the Torkoal. Do I even need to fake that out, actually? Why not just double up onto Venusaur? Wait, that seems kind of better. Because I think Venusaur is likely to max here. Torkoal isn't a problem given that we have Gigalith and Excadrill in the back. Okay, they max Venusaur, so that's good. If you Quake... I don't know if Life Orb Max Quake knocks out Eviolite Torracat. I probably should know that calc, given that we went up against Venusaur last week in WBE. Did I Eevee? Wait, I didn't bring Torracat last week. That's why I don't know that calc. Yeah, I don't think Torkoal is actually a really big threat. Like, the main threat of Torkoal here is being able to set up the Sun for the Venusaur. Primarina, Gigalith, and Excadrill all kind of destroy it. I'm not really worried about that. But my opponent has Rillaboom in the back, right? That could be a problem. Okay, so I'm going really, really offensive turn 1 here, but I don't think that's actually a terrible decision to make. Alright, they just go for the Vine Lash, though. But it doesn't KO us, so I'm pretty sure we KO the Venusaur in return here. And it's Life Orb. Yeah, we're definitely picking up a knockout here. That was so much damage. I think 2 overheats actually would have sealed up the deal there for us. I haven't seen Solar Beam in a second on Torkoal, so I'm curious if it has that. I mean, we might just trade Maxmons here with Hail, Vine Lash, and chip damage from Torkoal. I think Primarina might... Oh, and Life Orb. I think Primarina probably goes down this turn. I don't know if that's actually a great trade for us, but we'll see. Because, like, they probably have Dusclops in the back. So, like, Gigalith could put in some work, but I don't really have great damage into Dusclops. Oh, it's actually Yawn. Okay. Yawn is really surprising, but I guess what it covers is me switching out. So because they don't go for any damage here, this is actually a pretty great turn. And this is where me having Taunt on Torragate could actually be really valuable. Because I can just Taunt Geyser. I mean, obviously I could Starfall this next turn to change the terrain as well. Primarina's only going to get one more attack off here anyway, right? I think Torkoal's definitely switching out. So I think it's fine to probably just Geyser. We'll see what comes in. Could be Togekiss. That'd be pretty bad. Or Rillaboom, obviously, but yeah, it is Togekiss. Okay, it's probably Crit Kiss. Okay. You should just Dazzle the Primarina here. Maybe we switch out Primarina then and go out into Gigalith? No, but then Gigalith is really good against Torkoal Togekiss right now. Oh wait, they don't have Rillaboom, it's a Venusaur. Could be Incineroar on the back as well. I think Parting Shot definitely into Togekiss here. Yeah, I'm just gonna Parting Shot Hailstorm. Torkoal stays in. That could be a problem, because that might mean a Body Press coming out. Or a Yawn. So, well, I mean, I was never gonna get the Starfall off here anyway, right? Because Togekiss should outspeed us. I mean, AV Gigalith is so good in this position, so let's bring it out. I'll probably have to switch it out and then back in again, but even if I get Yawn this turn, it's not the end of the world for us. The only problem is that I take a little bit of residual damage through the Vine Lash, which I'm not a big fan of. What? They Air Slash Gigalith? Oh, I feel like that's a really big misplay. I think you have to KO the Primarina there. Because now I just get a Life Orb Hailstorm, which I think just KOs Togekiss. I mean, now you don't even have weather control. Yeah, I don't think you can really let Primarina get another attack off there. We take those, though? Because now you don't have weather control with Torkoal. Even if you Yawn me here, like, whatever. Primarina's obviously fainting anyway. It's actually burning Jealousy. Okay, well, Gigalith is in a phenomenal spot now. I can just bring in Torracat by bringing out Torracat. Actually, let's see who takes hail damage here first. Yeah, Gigalith is faster than Torkoal. Wasn't sure if he was going to be like complete Mint Speed Torkoal. I mean, obviously that's not surprising. The only downside is these Vine Lashes do hurt a lot. But I think going out into Torracat here is fine. My opponent's going to have, what, Dusclops, Tyranitar, and Incineroar. It's actually Tyranitar, so it changes the weather, and we get the Intimidate off, which is great. So I think here I can just close out the game with Excadrill now, actually. Yeah. We can just Parting Shot Tyranitar. We're faster with Torracat, but that's obviously not a surprise. Just confirms it's not Scarftar, but it's not like anyone's really running Scarftar nowadays. Torkoal doesn't do anything here, actually, so I think we can just Body Press here. And Parting Shot into Tyranitar is fine. Actually, does Body Press one-shot Tyranitar? I don't know. Yeah, Fake Out Torkoal, Body Press Tyranitar I think seems fine. Okay, Tyranitar protects, that's fine. It might just be a double protect. Nope. If you're running Burning, Jealousy, Yawn, I mean, you want normally, like, Eruption as well, and then it's like, do you rep Protect? Do you have Heat Wave? Do you have Body Press? Because Body Press Torkoal could still actually maybe put in some work against us right now. Okay, we take more Residual, but that's fine. I just, like, honestly don't want a Parting Shot because I don't want to throw in Excadrill because that's our, like, win condition right now. Ooh, but I ran high horsepower in Excadrill this week, right? I think I'm going to taunt the Torkoal and Body Press into Tyranitar because that means Torkoal can't protect or Yawn. It's actually still not over because I don't have EQ on the Excadrill, which kind of sucks. Alright, he's just going for Rock Slide. That's fine. Okay, Torkoal hangs on, but will faint next turn. Oh, and we flinch! Oh, and it has Body Press! No! I want to Calc Gigalith there, because if we KO Tyranitar, then I think we obviously win. Oh, no! Gigalith into Tyranitar, Body Press. We don't have any defense. Actually, Tyranitar's surviving that. Wait, is this right? This does... Oh, wait, that's against Max Tyranitar. Yeah, that's a KO. Oh, actually, no, it's not a KO, because I'm not max defense. So it would have survived. Is it surviving a problem? It would have done enough, though, where I think we can just Rock Slide. And then I don't think Torkoal one-shots us. I guess it's still not over, though. I can just high horsepower into Torkoal here. Tyranitar is at -1 attack, so it's actually not doing too much damage. So we can still win this. I just don't know if high horsepower one-shots Torkoal, because most of the time Torkoal in these positions are going to run like max HP, max defense. Huh. So maybe I should have actually hard switched Torracat out into Excadrill, but that's kind of risky, right? I didn't really mind the odds here, honestly. If anything, I think I should have damaged the Torkoal a little bit more so that it would be in guaranteed high horsepower KO range. Okay, we pick up the knockout. Nice. So now it's a question of are you Sash Tar, which I think is kind of unlikely. They're just going to go for Superpower. That shouldn't KO us. So now, yeah, if you're Sash Tar, you win. If not, you lose. Okay. Does Iron Head KO actually in this position? I don't know that calc. Let's see. Because I'm really curious. It's funny, like, you would think I would know this, but -1 Iron Head against max HP Tyranitar is it's a roll. It's a it's a roll in our favor. So I think we go for high horsepower here. I don't want to take that roll. So here's the reason I went for that. Based off this calculation, high horsepower, we win 95% of the time if they're not Focus Sash, right? If you're curious, so Iron Head against -1 defense, max HP Tyranitar, only one hit KO 69% of the time. So that means if it is max HP, which I think is a pretty safe assumption to make, then actually we can check it right now. Let's see. Are you Sash? No. Are you max HP? Yes. So actually, mathematically, high horsepower was the correct play there. Because Iron Head, oh, I guess you have to factor in the flinch chance. No, but the flinch chance still isn't enough. Like, that only marginally increases it. So, like, 69% of the time, you win by clicking Iron Head. Or slightly more, because of the chance to flinch as well. If you flinch, you also win. I guess there's a crit chance as well. But that's still lower than the 95% chance to win off high horsepower. So, I think that's a good example of a play where, like, obviously, Iron Head would have felt better there, but, like, we might have just missed out on the knockout. Whereas with high horsepower, yeah, like, I mean, if it's Sash Tyranitar, we lose either way, but I don't think you're going to be Sash Tyranitar in a team composition like that, so wasn't expecting it to be Sash Tar. Obviously, if we didn't flinch with Gigalith earlier, then the Tyranitar would have just been in KO range from an Iron Head as well, so I don't really regret how I played that. I feel like I played that pretty well, and you need the flinch and the miss to win this game, so yeah. This is a good example of a game where I actually don't think there were too many other plays I could have done differently. Obviously, in the end, it's Iron Head versus high horsepower and Excadrill, but I do think high horsepower is the correct play once again. And yeah, the odds of you getting that flinch plus also getting the miss there are pretty slim. I honestly liked how I played that turn 1. Maybe the only thing I could have done differently was overheat Max Guard turn 1. But I really wanted to just knock out the Venusaur, because I was like, Venusaur shouldn't one-shot either of my Pokemon in this position. And if I just knock out Venusaur turn 1, I think you're definitely going to Dynamax in this position. That's such a favorable trade for us, because we have Gigalith and Excadrill in the back. So, yeah. It's a little unfortunate, but that is just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I just want to confirm that it's max HP, and no, just 0 defense. So just your standard Tyranitar set. Looks like it's Brave, max HP, max attack. So, yeah. If we get the body press off, I don't even have to deal with the Iron Head, the potential flinch here. Or sorry, the potential miss in the end, but yeah. Alright, that's going to be it for this one. That was a fun one. I mean, it sucks to lose that way, but I think that was definitely an entertaining match, and I actually think we had a pretty favorable matchup. So cool to see the team at least be able to do some stuff here. I do think it was really surprising with the Togekiss Air Slash there. I felt like that was a major mistake on my opponent's end, which should have made it a lot easier for me to win, but yeah, in the end, you get a little unlucky. But cool team from their end, and yeah, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you as always for watching, and for supporting the Melbourne Rotoms. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you all next week. All right, peace.